Hey there, everybody. I want to do something a little bit different today, so I hope you entertain me just a little bit. Everybody's probably heard about the death of Ahmaud Arbery, the young black man who was jogging, and my sister she runs and she's in fitness and she did a jog in honor of this young man and others have. So I just want to bring it up because it's something that's just kind of been stirring in my heart. And let me start by saying again that prejudice, bigotry, racism is a real thing. It's a real thing today. It has always been an issue. It is an issue, and it's something that we need to continue to be challenging and fighting against. For those of you that don't know, I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. Brought up in Miami, very intercultural city and community. But not just that, not just that I was brought up around people of all different colors and backgrounds. I myself, my mother is Hispanic, right? My mother is from Central America. So I grew up I speak both languages. I spent 22 years as a pastor in a Spanish congregation, a Spanish church. My mother doesn't speak English to this day. So even though I'm white on the outside, everybody sees me and automatically thinks white. But on the inside, I'm not. I identify with both. I'm a person of color on the inside, but that just doesn't get reflected on the outside. But what I do understand is because of that, that's been an advantage to me because I feel what other Hispanics and people with darker complexions feel when there's injustice, but I don't feel it or suffer from it the same way. I know people, friends, close friends. I understand what they go through. But here's what I want to bring out. Here's what I want to bring out. This is a real thing. It's a real issue. And looking at the situation in Georgia, I don't know exactly what happened. All the facts will hopefully come out. But just based on what we know at the moment, right? Just based on what we know, things were done wrong. This man should be alive today, or probably could be alive today. Things should have been done differently. But besides that, I want to bring out the bigger picture. Because what this brings out in America, when this happens in America, it brings out the whole issue of race and the white and black question and accusations and tensions and rightly so. I mean, we should be outraged. We want justice. We don't want people getting shot down in the streets who are innocent, who haven't done anything at that moment to be deserving of that. But here's what I want to mention when I hear these things. Racism exists, prejudice exists on every single continent, except maybe Antarctica, right? All the other six continents, it exists. And it doesn't only exist from white to non-white. Um, you look over the last few years, in every single continent, you had Bosnia in 92, 93, and there was ethnic cleansing or genocide going on, and it was against religious reasons, but you had that occurring white against white in some cases. Rwanda, 1994, 500 to 800,000 people killed in 1 year, and it wasn't an issue of race. They were the same color. They were just a different ethnicity or different group, different tribe, and they were killing each other because they didn't like each other. The Spaniards, just like the English came to America and invaded the nation basically and almost did away with the native Indians in America, the Spanish did that in Central and South America. Um, just as much as Hitler did atrocities in Germany for white power, the Japanese were doing the same thing in the Pacific. And it wasn't for white power, it was just for power. And that's at the root of everything. It's power more than it is just race and nationality, and ignorance and greed. I looked over. I was doing research for this Sunday's message, and so I researched the wealthiest people in the world, and I got one website that showed me the 20 wealthiest people in all time, all history. You know who the number one wealthiest, according to this website, the number one most wealthiest person with hundreds of trillions of dollars, in his time compared to today, Genghis Khan from Mongolia. Genghis Khan is estimated at his time to have what would be hundreds of trillions of dollars today. He was brutal. He invaded. He killed people. Many people died because of him. You know who else rounded off the top five? Augustus Caesar was on the top five. Brutal, right? Dictator. And Muammar Gaddafi was, I think, number 6, right? So of the top 20, you had Bill Gates, you had Henry Ford, you had Vanderbilt, you had Carnegie. They were in the top 20. But within the top 10, it was dominated by people, some white European, but many from India, from Asia, from Africa, who made their money invading and killing other people. And it wasn't an issue then of color. So what I'm trying to say is this. It's not an issue of the color of our skin. It's an issue of the condition of our heart, right? That it's not an issue of what color we happen to be. It's an issue of the condition of our hearts. It all goes back, again, to our sinful nature and our rejection of God. There's an old chorus or song we used to sing in church. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him, there's no other. Jesus is the way. Jesus was rejected in Nazareth, his hometown. When he was rejected, it was over the issue of an ethnicity or race, because he was saying from the Old Testament, showing, hey, God is going to allow in the Gentiles, and they were furious, and they drove him to the brow of the hill, and we're going to throw him off the hill. And it was over the question of ethnicity and others coming into the kingdom of God, that it wasn't just for one group of people. And then not just different people, but even the people within the Jewish community who were known as the worst sinners. He spent time with them. He invested in them. He would accept invitations to go sit at their home. And that's part of why the religious people were crazy with him, about him, or upset with him. And then there's Saul of Tarsus in the book of Acts, persecuting the followers of Jesus, persecuting them, and in a sense, persecuting Jesus. And Jesus appears to him and embraces him and accepts him into the family of God. This man who was a murderer and was said to be driving out women and children out of their own houses, men and women out of their own houses, and throwing them in prison and approving of their executions. This guy, man, and yet Jesus embraces him and receives him into the kingdom of God. In the book of Revelation, John the Apostle sees a vision of heaven. And when he sees heaven, when he sees it, he sees people of every language, every nation, every tribe. There are things that we're going to lose when we get to heaven, and they're all good things. We're going to lose our sinful nature. We're going to lose jealousy. We're going to lose anger. We're going to lose weakness. We're going to lose all the stuff that we want to lose. We're going to lose. You know what we're not going to lose? You know what we're going to maintain in heaven? Our color, our diversity. In heaven, it's going to be beautifully diverse. So that's the beauty of the gospel. It's the beauty of the kingdom. So we have a lot of reasons right now to just be praying for our nation, but not just praying for our nation, praying for our nation because this is where we live, but praying for the world to be one, because Jesus' main prayer, John chapter 17, his main prayer for the disciples and for us was unity, that we would be one as he and the Father are one. We got to be one. And we have to set the example, church. We have to set the example. If you call yourself a Christian, then you should demonstrate that by your fruit of your life. And the fruit of your life should be one of love and compassion for people of all colors, of all nationalities, of all backgrounds, and loving them and giving them an example of the love of Christ through you. So let's be that love. Let's be that love for everybody. Thank you for letting me talk about something a little bit different today. Hope it blesses you. And I hope to see you guys Friday night when we do our live prayer streaming on Facebook. So God bless you. Have a great day.